Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the MuseCast, episode 57. It's been a little pocket of time. Yeah, we did 56 last time. It's just that it's been a while.
It's been a month or more.
It kind of has. It's holidays, traveling, injuries, work, and here we are. And luckily, all that was immediately after we finally released our song and an episode after a year of waiting. Yeah, we got one more podcast in, or maybe two, and that was it. And then we were
we had one. We had one with Russ, right? And then we had one with us, I think. Or
I think we did do one more.
Yeah, because we talked about you talked about SEMA, and I talked about the boat, the headbanger boat. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was delayed. I mean, we still had like a 2-week gap there, so really we only had one immediate follow-up to our releases, and then a 2-week gap, then a month-long gap, and here we are, and heading towards more holidays. So we'll see how this continues to pan out. I feel confident as the beginning of the year starts up that we'll be regular again. We'll try to be regular through the holidays, but I don't know what day Christmas falls on, and Christmas week we might miss a beat.
It's coming in a couple weeks. I'm actually up there with you. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm not with you, but I'm up there in Tallahassee. Hey, hey, I'm up there. I'm up there with you in the back. I'm set up in your it stays just like my studio. No, I'm leaving tomorrow. There's a show.
You got a show.
Tallahassee, yeah. Core headlining, first Core show in 2 years. Toys for Tots, lots of bands.
That's crazy that it's been 2 years since they came back. Yeah.
It's because they were down here. They came, that all of them except Nick came down here and did some pre-production stuff, and we, it was like didn't get finished. It was like we messed around and did some, but then it's tough, you know what I mean? Everybody's got lives and schedules and busy and coming back, but it's a long time coming, and those guys are great. Nick's awesome, Jason's awesome, Bobby's awesome, Worm's awesome. Filling in for the previous members. It's a kind of a new lineup, but it's a lot of fun. I like those guys a lot.
Yeah, man. And I mean, you used to play with Jason back in the day. This isn't like the Jason Cup, front man for Core, also has Solo Cup going.
Yep. Yeah, he's got Solo Cup. Him and I had a band called Company Kane back when Core split. They had some, as musicians do, some kind of falling out. The band broke up, and Jason wanted to start a group, and and we had Company Kane. It was me and him and Eddie Maldonado and Ox from PSG, Shannon Storizician. Oh man,
I know Eddie could be a little. I heard stories of Eddie because of like maybe a little bit of temperament there, and then was
Eddie,
Shannon? No, he was easy to work with.
Different Eddie. There was another Eddie that was in Sinister Nasty.
Dude, Maldonado, totally.
Yeah. No, Maldonado
totally was confusing. I know who Maldonado is. I'm sorry, Eddie. I knew that it was you. I'm having a brain fart. I'm all hopped up on pain meds and shit for my calf. I'm just not totally with it.
No, Maldonado is like, if you could picture a guy to be in a band with, that's like the nicest dude that you'll never have a problem with, never have an issue with. It's Eddie. Like, he's such a good human being, man. I miss him.
I was thinking of Eddie Gay. Isn't that what?
Yeah, Eddie Gay. Eddie Gay, great guitar player.
Great guitar player.
Awesome guy. I've just, I heard that he's can be, as us guitar players can be.
Well, musicians in general. I feel like in particular, though, we've talked about this on here a few times. I mean, drummers in particular, there seems to be an attraction to drums and hot temperaments, I think, based on my experiences with drummers. I mean, I hope I'm not pissing. I'm probably ruffling all kinds of feathers. Hey, wasn't Blank hard to work with, and aren't drummers hard to work with, and wasn't that guitar player hard? I'm just trying to stir the pot of shit.
Anybody listening I wonder what the overall vote is on which instrumentalist is notoriously the most temperamental. Like, let's talk about like
singers,
people that lose their cool and just get outright bursting
Drummers, hands
out
down
with
for me.
angriness. I think
Hands
so.
down, drummers.
I've
for me.
seen. I think the worst outburst I've seen maybe was from a drummer, previously mentioned just a few minutes ago, with another bass player previously mentioned a few minutes ago, but not the same band. We had the same three-piece music. Sorry, it was me on guitar, Eddie Maldonado on bass, Shannon on drums, and Kurt was on vocals. And we had a short-lived group called Chaos in Man. We actually played with Kill Clouseau. Or one of our only shows. We were very short-lived, and we were at rehearsal with Shannon and just I think it was all of us there, and something came up. It was like, you got to be on time for practice. You got to be at practice, man. Like kind of, and I think it was pointed at Shannon, and for whatever reason, man, he had a bad day, and that man came out from behind his drums, and he's a big guy. He grabbed a drum set and just chunked it. I probably shouldn't tell the story, but he just chunked the motherfucker across.
Told you I was
the room.
stirring shit.
Like, oh no! And I was like, I never saw anything like it. I was like, holy cow! He just threw his drum set. That was like $1,000. He doesn't give a what the hell. He's mad, but nothing had. So like, it was a lot of screaming. It was emotions. It was in the moment. Nobody fought. Like there wasn't any fists or contact or anything. It was like Eddie was telling Shannon, you got to tighten the fuck up if we're going to do this, because he was serious. Yeah. And Shannon was serious too. He was just going through some stuff. And as musicians, I think.
And a great drummer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Drummer. One of hands down the best drummers I've ever played with. And I played with Shannon for about 2 years between Chaos and Man and Company Kane. And man, just phenomenal. Like the most, like no doubt the most powerful drummer I've ever played with. You talk about somebody who hits the drums, heavy beats, just Shannon was all about it.
I could believe that. Yeah. Great drummer. And I've never had any problem with him. And I filmed him in a music video when he was playing with Chris Bacon.
Yeah.
For what was the name DNR, Do Not Resuscitate. And it was Break Your Neck at the skate park, man. And I was still using little standard definition prosumer level cameras. They were legit at the time. But I mean, now your iPhone can trump it, which leads to one topic I do want to talk about before this episode ends, which is that I got the new iPhone and for the video capabilities.
Oh, the 16 Pro.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after, but I don't want to deviate yet. But yeah, man, I mean, he was great. No, I've never had any issue with him. And when I say drummers have been the hardest to work with, I say this because I'm still on good terms, I believe, with every drummer that played in Kill Clouseau. But we changed to drummers. We used the same one twice, and then we had 3 other drummers. So we changed 4 or 5 times, and that's the only player that changed was the drummer. Like we never, the bass. We added a keyboard player. The keyboard player right at the very end, bailed only because he was, he had a job and he just wanted to. He was kind of burnt out on trying to do these. It's hard, man. It's hard justifying all the time to go play for a few people. And sometimes it'd be great. It'd be a ton of people, but it's just so hit or miss when you're an independent band, and it's just hard.
Especially if you have something else that's very positive and very, potentially successful going on outside of it, right? You have to consciously manage where you put your energy and what you put your time into.
Yeah, and he like, we were younger. He was older than us. Like, he was a good decade older than us, and he was so good at playing, but he was also like the one with a legit job and had put away savings and stuff like that, and then, but anyway, I mean, it's all good, and for some bands it's a singer, for some bands it's a drummer, bands shift players all the time. I feel like in a way there's an element of nowadays that it's almost like everything has the ability to mold so much more than it did. I mean, I feel like when we were doing our bands, it was a lot. Well, you shifted around quite a bit, but I feel like it's more accepted now to just, hey, let's do collabs,
It's weird. It's weird you say that because just today, somebody found a link to this. I got sent this link by Jeff Withers in my band, and I couldn't get it to play, and it was called The World. And I was like, that sounds familiar. Is it one? It's like a SoundCloud link, and I couldn't get it to play. And then later I was on Facebook, and Big Dave, vocalist from episode 2 from Afraid, he posted it, and I realized what it was. And the world was a collaboration that it was me on guitar, Shane Wright. You remember Shane Wright, Zigzag?
Yeah.
He ran Studio One,
I still
Tallahassee.
see him on Facebook here and there.
Yeah. He so we were all at his studio one night, and let me center that camera there. We were all
Sorry, I was trying
no,
to-
that's fine. We were all at the studio one night at his house, and there was a bunch of us. So it was the first time I ever experienced the program drums. He had just got Easy Drummer, right? And he was like, "Man, this is a game changer. It's in the MIDI," and he like showed me he's messing with these drums, and it sounded cool. And I was like, "Dude, let's like here, give me a guitar. Let's do this right now." And we start just like riffing, and he's just we made this song. It was so quick, and I was like, we had a bunch of people there. I was like, all right, everybody's doing vocals, everybody in the room. So it was me, Big Dave, Kurt Rogers, Jeff Withers, Jonathan Davis from Methodical Mayhem, and Jesse Jalbert from Methodical Mayhem. And it's just this stupid, insane, just nonsense stuff. But it was so fun, and we did it all in one, like just a couple hours. And that collaboration, like, I just heard it again tonight. That's why I'm kind of amped up.
Oh, funny.
Because I just heard it tonight for the first time in 12 years. Forgot all about it, and it's on SoundCloud.
Nice.
I'll like when we post this episode on YouTube, I'll comment a link to it. If
you totally can. If you want to send me the link, I'll throw it into the description too. So
oh yeah.
I'll just shoot it to me.
Yeah, I'll text you a link to it.
We should get better. I think that's one thing I want to, hey, we're heading towards the New Year's, and we've been doing our podcast. This is our 57th episode. And so, guys, if you've been following along for even, 1/8 of these episodes and listening to these conversations, we sure would be curious. What are some things that we can do that you're interested in hearing us go down the avenue? And we were talking off camera about, one thing I would love to see happen for 2025 is that we more regularly have guests, like from other bands in particular. I would love to get some more band members on here that are outside of our sphere, just to start getting to know more of what's going on around us in the world of music that's not just in the...
I hear we've talked to people about this, and the hard thing is like, well, I don't have a laptop. A lot of people don't have computers. I mean, not everybody has a studio set up like you got at your house or like I got over here. But I'll tell you what, if you got one of these,
that's right. Russ's interview was on his phone, and he lost signal 3 times, but that was his internet connection. That wasn't his phone.
Yeah,
you can totally do it with your phone, and that makes it about as easy as it can go. And especially if you do have AirPods or something similar, that'll even help more, just because it cuts off sound around you, so it'll be a quieter. Even if you don't have a quiet environment, you can get away with it easier that way. We're not trying to get somebody on that has a great background per se. It's really more about the audio content, but it is fun to see your face, and it is fun for us to see each other, and I think it makes the conversation more engaging. So we do want to see you in here for that. But yeah, I would love to do that. And I think we also do need to get way better about paying attention to what we actually talked about in our episodes and putting more links in our description about all this stuff that we're talking about. Everything from bands that we're talking about to our own music to, it just...
links to SEMA.
Yeah. People are curious about all these, categories that we're just blazing past in these conversations. Might as well just give some direct links. I mean, this is common practice in podcasts, and we're, it all takes a little bit of time, but we would love to, just flesh this out so you guys have more access to more things that you can check out that we're talking about and stuff. But, I do want to mention, the last time that we talked was right before Thanksgiving. And so Thanksgiving hadn't even happened. And 3 days before that, I was hitting my heavy bag, and I thought that Tristan threw a tennis ball at my leg randomly, because I had just been communicating with him and joking with him on a text. And then I put the phone down, and my timer's going on, and my AirPods, I'm doing like timed bag rounds and stuff. Yeah. And then I heard a pop, and I felt a thud on my leg, and I was like, little fucker threw a ball at me or something. And I turned around and nobody was there at all. And then I knew immediately from hearing all the athletes talk about it, I just popped something in my leg. And then I tipped over and fell down to the ground and couldn't walk on my leg, And that was
No.
3 days before Thanksgiving. So what I did, I tore my calf muscle and I've been rehabilitating it. I was in a chair for all Thanksgiving. I've been on a cane a bunch, and it was getting way better 10 days in, way better. And then, which is important because I had to do a production coming up for a commercial shoot.
Then you had the bear attack.
And then I was walking to my guest house in the dark. I'm out in the woods, and I say walking, I'm hobbling with my cane. And I mean, I was starting to get mobility back. I was taking it really easy. And then I heard this thing charging at me, and it was loud. One of the loudest experiences I've had out here for wooded animals, in the dark, because that happens. I'll go outside and pee and I'll hear things running around out there, deer, armadillos, etc. and stuff. And this was undeniably loud and coming straight at me. So I leapt. It got way close. I leapt to the stairs so it would be a guard for me at this thing that was coming at me. And then it kept running around, and then I got up to the porch and my legs throbbing, and I shined my phone light on it, and it is indeed two of the largest damn armadillos I've ever seen out here, chasing each other full blast. I mean, they're just darting around.
Good old time with it. Just
dude
around.
And I was just the rest of that night was screwed. I was in agony. I mean, it was just my legs swelled back up like a balloon more than it had previously. It got bigger than before.
You tore the actual muscle. You tore your calf muscle.
Yeah.
It's a pain. The good thing is it should, depending on what level it is, there's different levels of it. I'm sure you did your research as like class 1, 2, and 3 muscle tear. Like I tore mine earlier this year, but it was
your groin.
It was a tendon. It wasn't the muscle. Right. It was the ligaments in there.
Yes.
And the muscle, I think, is more painful. It's got to be.
Well, I don't know what I think. It actually, you're right. I think the ligament can be often more times needing surgery. The muscle oftentimes repairs on its own. However, the muscle is usually more painful, and the ligament usually debilitates more range of motion because, well, it depends. The biggest thing was like, and I knew that I didn't because I can have full articulation of my foot. But, if you pop off your Achilles tendon, that's a different story. I'd be in the hospital. I'd be doing surgery.
I knew I didn't pop mine off, but it was like yours is so much worse because it's your calf, and it's more of a working muscle on your regular movements. See, I tore my upper tendon on my inner thigh adductor, which is what makes your legs go together. The muscle that pulls your legs together up high.
Which ain't fun.
No, it was awful and terrible. But it wasn't something. It was only with certain movements that I would be able to walk somewhat normal. But then if I like stretched and did a long step to the side, I would just fall over in agony and cry.
Yeah, man. No, this stuff's not fun, and it's one of those things too that as you can end up, if you don't take care of it and let it heal, I mean, you can end up with permanent, limitations on your range of motion, or it might heal in a way where all the layers of your muscle fascia, scar tissue builds back kind of shitty, and then it can just rip way easier. So this could be a reoccurring injury for the rest of your life more easily. All that stuff's on the table, and especially as we cross the threshold of 40, it's like, And so anyway, that happened, and I've been dealing with it, and then I had to get better within 3 days or 2.5 days to go then film the commercial for 2 days. And so I went and did that with a cane on some of it and without a cane on others. And I could push through the pain. But the problem is that at the end of the day, I mean, my leg was so swollen, I could barely bend it. It was just, and it's taken.
When it's at rest after you've got it inflamed all day and worked through the pain, right? Then when you're at rest, it's like why'd you do this to me?
Well, and yeah, totally. And it can be so swollen that now you're re-ripping it again because
Yeah.
everything's so stretched out. Now your muscle fascia is all like this. And so it's taken, I finished on Tuesday and we're on Thursday, and it's just about over the last 2 or 3 hours, I'm starting to see it go down a bit. Now, I've been doing a lot of things to work on it, from voodoo band flossing, which helps, that's like where you have these long rubber bands and you wrap it tightly and then you move through ranges of motion and then you release it. So it pushes all the fluids and bloods, gets motion happening again, which
Okay.
stimulates healing. It's really popular, and a lot of weightlifters do it and stuff when they have tears and things. I'm experimenting with red light therapy. I can't, this takes a while to see results from red light therapy. So it's one of those things. I'm just doing it to be safe.
What is red light therapy? I saw the picture you
Yeah.
posted. Something wrapped with is it infrared light or is it just a
So it's
red?
it's kind of both. So infrared is a different frequency spectrum, and this belt that I purchased offers both that and straight up red light. And red light, I want to say red light's at like 600. I don't even remember the measurement. It's like a megahertz, and then the infrared is at like 900, and both have different purposes. The red light, basically, it stimulates a lot of the topical stuff with skin. A lot of people use it for like beauty because it like fixes your skin blemishes and stuff like that. It can be rejuvenating. You can, on the highest end spectrum, dude.
Some of that.
Oh, totally. I mean, I'm going to be starting to wear it on my face. We'll see what happens. Now that I have one, I mean, I didn't have one of these till now. I've heard about it for years, and I'm like, somebody actually messaged me and said, "Dude, trust me, I got that belt. This guy got exactly the belt."
I saw the guy comment about red light on your initial post.
That's him, Mike Patrick. And Mike Patrick says he's been wearing it for his back, and he hasn't had after 2 weeks, he hadn't had a back issue since. And I think he's been doing it for over a year. And you only do it a couple of times a week, because you can't. Basically, what it's doing is it's.
Wait. You mean after 2 weeks, he used it for 2 weeks, and then after that 2 week period from when he started using it, he didn't.
He keeps using it. Yeah, you'd still maintain this as like a weekly thing, like 1, 2, at the most 3 times a week when you have a real issue. But you can't do more than that because you'll oversaturate the cells and they won't do what they're supposed to do. And what you're doing is you're stimulating all the mitochondria to actually activate, and it promotes all kinds of circulation and healing to happen in whatever area that you apply it to. So to give you some perspective, like something to compare it to, on the biggest end spectrum, like if you were going to get the fanciest shit out there, you can get full entire beds, like tanning beds, but it's red light, right?
I think I
And
have.
those can, and dude, like on the high end, those can cost around $130,000. Which is like crazy.
It's like you put your body in there, and then your mitochondria are like, all right, boys, it's a good day. It's time to break and go home and go to bed. Oh, shit.
Look, keep working. Keep working.
We're going. Oh, shit.
I mean, I can't vouch for it, but I've been hearing about it for years. People that have the money to have it, do it. This belt is about the cheapest entry point that I've come across. And Mike Patrick said he put a lot of time into figuring out the highest quality one with the highest joule count. That's one of the measurements of how much light you get. So look, I'm trying it, but just to close it out, that infrared part, that's deeper tissue penetration. So that frequency spectrum is also offered in the belt. So you have both. You can have them both on at the same time. And you can be focusing on that topical and then also the deep tissue penetration. Then on top of that, it has a pulsing version. And the pulsing version, turning on and off like that, tells the cells other stuff, so it goes even deeper in the tissue. So all three of these things are factors to like stimulate your body to do shit. Now look, there's science that backs it up. I've never tried it. It sounded silly to me, but it never went away over the past few years, and it's gotten more popular and more expensive. So I don't know. But Mike says he swears up and down. So I'm going to try it for my back too. I mean, I bought the damn belt. It was $175 when I bought it. It's on sale right now for $99. But I'll sell it to you for $75.99 with.
Let me know how it works. Let me know how it works, because I have a neck thing that happened when I tried to pick Kurt up one night, and
Yeah.
it's actually it's actually really good now. Like I feel
That's good.
right. I don't want to say anything, but right now my body's not really broken anywhere, and that's nice. But I would say,
Absolutely.
like, I hope it works out and it heals
Well,
you
they
up
say
because
it gets rid of wrinkles and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I kind of wonder if some
I
of the
want
older people I know, you want to age.
I want to
I mean,
age. I mean, I don't want to not age. I see people that try to do things to not age.
yeah.
And I just want to like I want to age like Sean Connery, man. I want to get old and white haired, and the wrinkles will come, and I just want to get sexier and sexier as I get older. And
Sean,
if
Sean,
and so, Sean Connery's one of the guys that's like lucky, you know. He like got old in the good, cool, hot way.
yeah, yeah. No, well, and I think in general, one of the things. Well, I'm not even going to say that out loud, but
Don't say
yeah,
yeah.
I'm not going to say it out.
But, dude,
Yeah.
but
So it's
six,
interesting.
six,
That's one thing I'm doing.
6 to 8 weeks, really. Like that's typical healing
Recovery time for the
recovery
tear.
time for a tore muscle. 6 to 8 weeks. And honestly, like my 2 cents is everything that you're doing is great, but the most important thing is to just let the muscle heal and not work it until
That's the thing,
and
dude.
it's so hard. That's the
It's
hardest
so
part
hard.
is to just not stress it because you're
Yeah.
an active person and you want to be active. I
Yeah.
kept training through mine, and I luckily I found a way to train like from certain positions where I didn't have to do it. I just laid on my leg. I was like, oh, guess what? We're gonna roll. I'm just gonna start laying on my side, and
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna fight from here. And this is the way
Yeah.
it's gonna be. And you got to find it's so hard with the calf, though. I mean,
It's hard but it's completely achievable now. I just had to do that commercial that was scheduled like a month out. It was a good, it's part of the pay I planned on through Christmas and all that stuff. And, I just
yeah,
couldn't not do it. Luckily, my son Tristan stepped up to the plate and I yanked him out of school and he came and helped me film for 2 days. And man, he's getting so good. He did that little film. We'll have to put a link to that in the
oh,
notes
yeah.
because your son's in it too. Kyron's in it and Tristan, it's a
So
whole little
proud,
vision that he had.
so proud of all them boys. That was so
Right?
cool, man.
Dude,
Guys,
first go at it.
guys listening, here's a dad moment. My son's in it. He acts better than me and better than 90%
Yeah,
of people that I've seen do acting. And he's a 15-year-old kid. And
yeah,
Tristan directed it, wrote it, and put all
yeah.
these boys in it. And I was blown away. I
It's
was
like a
like,
3.5 minute piece. It's super short, but it's super powerful, man.
yeah, it's the subject matter is deep. And it was like, I was like, I am feeling this. This is great.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
this is an A+ student project.
Dude, I
Like,
know. I told
all
Tristan, I
right.
was like, he did it for his cinematography class because it's like the end of the 9 week project or whatever, right?
Sure.
And I was just so happy to see him really go for it. Now, they got a new cinematography teacher. The first one was kind of a dud, and this guy came in and he's done more news stuff as a background.
Okay.
And I told Tristan, I was like, dude, it's crazy that you did that on your first go at trying to do like a full scripted piece because these are some of the hardest things to edit. And I was like, when you show your teacher that, I'm telling you, he's going to be intimidated about you. I told him, I was like, and then he showed it to his teacher, and I asked, so how did it go? And he said, well, it went good. He thought he was really impressed. And then I was like, yeah. And he said, yeah. He actually said that he was going to be bringing in a couple of his short films that he made, but now he's a little bit intimidated to bring them in. He used that exact word.
Ah,
Like he did it in a joking way to Tristan, but it's true. It's
yeah.
true, dude.
So there's got to be a whole like, how do I say it? It's like almost like a flex thing, right?
Yeah.
When you do something, you're good at it, and then when you see someone else do something who's just naturally good at it
Yeah. Yeah.
quickly, it's hard. I don't, maybe it's hard as a teacher, but it shouldn't be, right? Because you're there.
Hopefully it's not,
It's
but
not
totally
about
it can be.
yeah, I'm sure it's like, because it with people inherently it's about you. It's the you show, and you're piloting your meat puppet vessel, right? But
Hmm.
for a teacher, it's you have to let that go and nurture your student's talent. And when you
Yeah.
see a student Like I'm bragging on your kid. When you see Tristan, that's his first school project. I was sucked in like Saving Private Ryan, man.
Dude, it was good, man, with the muzzle flashes and all that. There was a mixture of
Yeah,
practical and VFX at the end. I mean, he nailed it. I was like, damn, dude, that worked out so well.
yeah.
And
My
yeah, and it,
mom, my mom loved it too.
awesome,
she
awesome.
she the only comment she had, and this is a I'm not gonna say how old my mom is, but this is a woman who isn't from our generation, and she said, I just don't know why he put that high pitched stuff in there when they're talking. And I was like,
Oh,
well, I said, well, mom, it's like a found footage style almost.
hmm,
It's a documentary style horror-ish drama, but that sound you hear, that's a really common sound, and that's a audible cue that's what style of video this is. It's like when you hear that, when I heard it, it was like, ooh, it takes you right to like the Blair Witch style, but not quite Blair Witch. It's more like handheld footage of like a past event, because it's
hmm,
like it's a reaccount of the horror that happened. And Tristan did it
hmm.
perfect. He did the interview in a certain style that had that found footage style in the interview,
Yeah,
but then when it was a flashback, it was in full cinema mode. It
right,
wasn't,
right.
it changed. And so there was a clear distinction between the present and the past horror event.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
good. So
It
good.
was cool, man. Yeah, and I haven't. It's like I've talked to him about aspects of why he chose to do certain things of what he did do, and I know, that it feels like footage that was supposed to be buried to some extent. Like that intro and everything is what's public facing. That's the interview for the news broadcast, but then it goes to the real event that he's saying went fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the real event is them losing their buddy and all that. And I mean, there's just so much wrapped up into that little 3.5 minutes, and then the actual editing and the continuity and the color grading, the sound effects. He did the whole sound bank. I'm definitely really proud of him for doing it, and it's cool because he went with me to SEMA and helped film the cars. Then he does that project. Then I hurt my leg, and I need he came to the rescue to help me work on this project. He's getting a lot of experience right now. And regardless of him, sticking with just his dad doing it, I want him to have those tools so he can do that later if he wants to. But he's definitely got a natural ability for it. So I think I kind of want him to go work a couple of crappy jobs, and then he'll have something to compare it to, and then he might
Yeah.
realize, oh, maybe I do want to do this.
He's
Make
yeah,
some money doing it.
you gotta let him find his own path, but let
That's
him go
right.
spend a summer. Let him go spend a summer laying bricks, Let him spend a summer
Yeah.
doing concrete driveways with Robert Dunlap up there or something. And
Yeah.
just, see what it,
And not to criticize those jobs or anything. It's just hard, and it is like if you have that creative drive and if you have a natural ability to do it, it is a way to do it, and you can make good money doing it. If that's where your natural knack is, don't
yeah, no,
deny it,
like, trust me, I'm not knocking construction
Exactly.
in any way. I
Exactly.
tried to get out of construction when I was young. I had landed a great job in North Carolina and learned how to frame houses, and then moved back to Florida wanting to go to college for audio recording, and it didn't work out. It
Mm.
didn't pan out. But guess what? I had construction background already to lean back on, and it ended up working out. So I mean, life's fun, man.
I
Kids
bet you made more money doing construction than if you had gotten that audio degree.
probably made a little bit more money in construction than
I mean, I hate to
than
say
some
that, but
audio.
it's
Yeah,
hard, man. I mean,
it
those
is.
degrees are challenging to pay for at the end of the day, and with
Yeah,
what's happening in the world and how the technology is evolving and how, I mean, I think that there's a large opportunity to still start a video business for sure, 100%. But it every decade it seems like it gets a little bit weirder, like to start something from scratch, because you're going to have to be that much better out of the gate to get the work, because the tools are so good to get people 50% there, even if you're an absolute green amateur business owner and you just want to make some social content for it's hard to hire somebody out for that if you can achieve what you can with your phone, which does lead me to the phone. I do want to talk about the phone.
oh yeah, yeah. I guess that's
Okay.
good. Segue right in. Let's talk about
Okay. So I don't want to geek out too much about like specifically iPhone or whatever, but look, it was time for me to upgrade. If I waited any longer, I was just going to get less money for my trade-in value on my iPhone 12 Pro Max, and the iPhone 16's out. And all the Apple Intelligence stuff still hasn't come, and blah, 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 blah. Look, I'm only interested in the camera, and that's 90% of what I'm interested in. And the camera I got, and I'm just now, like today, I'm finishing up my first little 2-minute edit of the first test footage that I've done with it. That was for we went out to St. Mark's on my birthday, and I hobbled around a little bit, sat in the sand some. And actually, I think yeah, that was before I did the commercial shoot and fucked up my
St.
leg up
Mark's.
more.
Did you go right out to Lighthouse, or did you go down
Right to the lighthouse and on the coast.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
got some footage in there. I couldn't go too far because of the leg.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, whoa, that's that?
Yeah, that's
That's
St.
the
Mark's
lighthouse?
Lighthouse, man. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I just thought it was a lighthouse.
You were hanging out with my dad. I spread his ashes out
Oh, whoa.
off the lighthouse, and this little spiral. We put his boat in a spin, and
Yeah.
his ashes made a spiral.
Whoa.
Right there. Yeah. That's my spot.
Well,
Man. That's our spot.
wow. Well, I got to send you the video once I have it uploaded and done. Yeah, it's a little, I made it for my video channel just because I review, cameras and all that stuff. And so anyway, the quality out of it is definitely impressive. I mean, and this goes to the point, which is that, I'd recently made a video about if you're looking to buy a real camera and like start like really getting into cameras and what the threshold of price is that you need to spend to get something better than your phone, and the bar is raising because these phones are getting ridiculous. And this phone is very, very capable you can do a lot with this phone. So I got it, and it's going to be basically my vlog style camera for the behind the scenes stuff on my projects. I can start more readily, putting up little rough edits of behind the scenes stuff on my productions. For my YouTube channel. And man, it is seriously impressive. So guys, if you're thinking about what I would say is if you're thinking about getting a new camera and you also need to get a new phone or you're eligible for one, I do recommend go for the Pro model because it really is a difference in quality. It also offers an additional lens versus just the standard model.
What does the additional lens do?
You get an additional telephoto lens, which is like supposed to be.
I have the 14.
Yes,
this is a company phone. My company pays for this phone, so I don't get to choose. Give me the 16 Pro, but I have the 14 regular, which is 2. Is 2, which allows you to do the 0.5 zoom, right? That's
you've got the equivalent of a 14 millimeter lens on there and a 24 millimeter lens on there. So you got a super wide and a wide, and then on the Pro versions that offers a telephoto lens, and on your generation, I believe it was a 3 times. I don't know what that comes out to. I don't know if that was like an 85 mil, but on the newest ones, it's a 5 times optical zoom, not digital.
That means the third camera allows you to go further.
So like an 80 mil instead of 24. It might have been only a 50 or 60. I can't remember exactly what it was, but on the newest phones, it's 120 millimeter equivalent because of how small the sensor size is. So pretty good. So I've got some long shots on there that are pretty good. Now, the thing about the iPhones that's different, that's weird in comparison to a camera that you're putting a lens on the front of each time is each camera has its own sensor. Each lens has its own sensor. Okay. So, and the quality of the sensor behind each one is a little bit different. And so the best quality is the 24 millimeter. And this has to do with the physical mechanics of the size of the sensor and what they can fit into the phone and the focal length. And there's just a limit. It's amazing that they're achieving what they are in such a small form factor. But nonetheless, the quality of the 24 is definitely pristine by comparison to the other lenses. However, that telephoto, it is a pretty good zoom lens. I got some shots that I was pretty impressed with it. And overall, the big thing that the newer phone, well, yours would actually allow this too. You do have, for people that want to get into video editing in a bigger way, you have log as a picture profile to film with, and I believe your phone does ProRes, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it doesn't do ProRes, and that was the thing. I think it actually just has the log offering, I
So
believe.
I have, looks like I have options for 30 frames per second, 60 frames per
Yeah.
second, HD, 4K.
Yeah, those are all your frame rates and your resolution size. If you don't see something that says log or ProRes, then it just isn't really an option on that phone,
No.
which that makes sense. I think that
Is it
they
only on
introduced
the
it in the 15, come to think of it.
is it only on the video? Only on the
It
video
would
option?
only be a video option because those are video codecs. And I believe the 15 is where they introduced it. The 15 is extremely comparable to the 16, but the 16 does look a little bit better. I've seen side by sides because I put in the time and research before I did the upgrade. And it does eat up some data. So I actually didn't get the biggest phone because I didn't want that 7-inch brick in my pocket all the time. I got the next size down, just the Pro, and I got a larger hard drive in it so I can film more because this ProRes eats up some data, man. I can film up. I got a terabyte size phone and it fills up in an hour and 25 minutes if I film it at its full quality. So you think about how long your phone
Hour,
takes to fill it.
hour and 25 minutes though. I mean,
No, it's good.
it's not
It's
bad.
good, but it's weird to think that you'd be tapping out a terabyte size phone because people never fill
Yeah.
up a terabyte size phone. You could do it in an hour and a half. With
My
this
phone's
Kodak, it's that powerful.
I don't have a terabyte size phone. Mine's already full.
Exactly.
Mine's already full. I don't
Right,
think
right,
I'll
right.
turn that on.
Yeah. Well, I will put that video out and about tomorrow or the next, hopefully tomorrow. I'm trying to figure out a couple of things with the color on it,
Yeah, can't wait
but
to see.
nonetheless, I'm just pointing out to you guys, like if you're thinking about getting a camera, I mean it's not crazy to go with your phone to do this stuff, and the microphone really ain't bad either. I mean, for something, if you're looking for the cheapest, simplest solution for something you're already going to be buying anyway, potentially, it's hard to be. You can
It's
obviously getting a real camera is great, but I'm just
well,
saying.
technology's there too. Even the so the audio when you record on a camera audio on your phone. I've noticed this with a couple friends of mine who do videos. I'm pretty bad about recording ideas on a video. I'll take a usually the selfie camera, the crappy one on the
Hmm.
front, so I can just make sure that it's viewing the right thing while I'm looking at it because I don't have an external monitor. But I'll record a lot of video, and the video nowadays is great compared to 15 years ago when cell phones first came out and you put your phone in the room and you recorded a live band practice or something and it was just
Yeah,
but now it automatically adjusts the input level to
it's
whatever
impressive.
the
It's
sound's coming.
impressive.
Even more so if you actually just use the voice memo function on your iPhone.
Hmm.
I've noticed because Tim Matthews, vocalist for Dave's Last Night, does a lot of home recording on the voice memo, and it compresses it. It has an auto compressor on it,
Hmm.
and it will actually eliminate background noise. It does all kinds of automated stuff, but
Wow. So
it
you get
doesn't tell
better
you
audio using the for recording with your phone on the voice memo.
far far better audio. It is
Interesting.
insane how superior the sound quality is when you record yourself on the voice memo function versus just doing a video.
Dang. Well, that's very intriguing to me. So I'll have to experiment with that. Indeed. I actually did I did the selfie cam and a mic test in this video that I'll send you this one that I'm talking about on the new, because they improved the mic. And
Yeah.
it's pretty good. But I mean, that being said, I'm just talking, but it was windy outside. The wind wasn't even really there. Then I did a small pass of a little compression limiter and EQ curve and put a little soothe on it, which is a plugin that I got that I like. It kind of just rounds off everything. I've actually been
Soothe.
playing. Have you heard of this one? Soothe?
I'm adjusting to what it's called the soothe.
Yeah.
You can already
It
tell what it does. Like
a
it
lot.
softens it up and just makes it nice.
Some guys kind of live by it. Like they put it at the end of every mix. I'm like, okay, all right. Not just video guy. I've actually heard about it from sound recording guys.
Yeah, yeah.
So I tried it out, but
Well, it
and
makes
liked
things
it.
that kind of adjustment makes things really pleasant to the ears.
It just grabs I bet the guy said it too that I was listening to, the sound engineer. He was like, it just I almost can always just leave it on default like 90% of the time. Like just putting it on, it just takes out all the little gremlins that are in those noise waves. You
Yeah.
know, it just takes out all the little spikes that are a little bit harsh to the ear, just clips them right out, you know.
Technology.
I
Technology.
know. This is the thing, man. I mean, if you know the tools and you take the time,
Yeah.
but yeah, man. So that's fun. I got the new phone thing going on. There was some. Oh, this is interesting. Led Zeppelin's putting out a new album, I think next month.
How?
Dead serious.
Wait, are they
They've been
all
working on one for 2 years, apparently.
damn?
Yeah. And they're going to
Led
go on tour.
Jimmy Page, Robert Plant. Do you know how many amazing reunion tours are happening?
It's
Like
great. Everybody's come back.
next year, Led Zeppelin's coming back. That's dumb. That's crazy.
I have to hear it. I have to see what they do. I hope it's good. I don't want it to be bad, you know? I
Rock,
want it to be
Rock,
good.
Rockville this year has so Chimera was on the Headbangers Boat. I told you
Mhm.
the metal band Chimera. Didn't know they were my favorite band until I saw them, and then they became my favorite band. They're
They're
on
your current favorite band right now?
no, they're not my they just became like one of my like it's just, it's
Tops.
hard to explain. Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
how genuine and awesome they are. Like I like it when people are real. They're not putting
Yeah.
on the show. It's not just a show and there's no humanity on it. I'm not going to call anybody out, but I've been to some shows where the band comes out, there is a show, they do the thing, and then they get the fuck off the stage, and there's no like talking, there's no humanity, there's no joking. I don't see any of them goofing around.
Yeah.
Like, come
Yeah.
on, man. You're fucking humans up there. You're not
Yeah. Yeah.
robots. I'm not here watching a bunch of fucking robots do a show.
Fucking
And
Harmonia.
yeah, goddamn Harmonia and Pegasus. But it's like, Chimera was just having a great time. And I like watched these guys goof around. The singer snuck in the back and hit the little 808 button on the keyboard when the
Yeah. Yeah.
keyboard guy wasn't looking. But anyway, Rockville has Chimera. They have Dry Kill Logic. If you ever
Oh
heard
shit.
Dry Kill Logic,
Yeah. Yeah.
Shaggy from Tallahassee, stage guy, sound guy, Shaggy
Yeah.
from Floyd's. He
I
used to
know.
be. He was Dry Kill Logic's touring drum tech. He toured with them.
Oh, really? When?
Yeah,
During what
but
point?
like early 2000s, like
Okay.
2003, 4,
Oh,
5.
dude, that triggers.
Right,
Don't
right,
I?
right before he
Yeah,
got the Floyd's gig.
I don't want to forget to mention something that you
Oh,
just triggered for me. But keep going. Keep
yeah,
going.
yeah. No, but so Dry Kill Logic's doing a reunion show. Snot, the
Oh,
band
really?
Snot. You remember Snot, the vocalist
Yeah, they did that.
passed away, and they did
Yeah,
the compilation.
collaboration album.
All Kyron is in love with Snot.
Really?
Snot is playing at Rockville, and I'm like, I have
Wow.
no idea who's singing. I hope it's the vocalist from Dry Kill Logic because they
Mm,
favor each other a lot.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
then just confirmed. I knew it was there they were the only blurred out name on the flyer when they released the band full lineup flyer a couple weeks ago. There was
Mm-hmm.
one band underneath Mastodon that was blurred out, and I knew who it was. They just hadn't confirmed.
Acid Bath.
And Kyron did it, and it's fucking Acid Bath.
It's Acid Bath.
It
Whoa.
is Acid Bath. They're playing with the drummer from Goat Whore, Sammy Duet's
Okay.
band that he's been in since then. They got Dax Riggs to agree to do vocals. That was my biggest hang up with the Acid
Of
Bath
course.
reunion is
Yeah.
Dax had said, I don't want to do it. But then
Uh,
they said they got him. So you have Sammy Duet, you have the drummer from Goat Whore, don't know his name, I'm sorry. You have Dax Riggs, you have his name escapes me, but he's the other guitar player that he played in Agents of Oblivion too, the second guitar player from Acid Bath, and the bassist is going to be the bass player from Agents of Oblivion.
mm-hmm.
You know who Agents of Oblivion is?
Yeah, that's Dax's other project.
That was the band Agents. I have their CD right here. Agents of Oblivion was the band right after Acid Bath. Same vocalist, same guitar player. I can probably find his name. Mike Sanchez. Mike Sanchez is the guitar player from Acid Bath that came over to Agents of Oblivion, and they did a electric version of Dead Girl. I'm the biggest Acid Bath fanboy.
So it's Acid Bath and then Mastodon?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. That's a pretty good. Man, I hate when Rockville happens, dude. It's literally during my wedding anniversary with my wife and my 2-year-old's birthday. Like it kind of is all in that same week. It's already the craziest week. It's May 12th is my son's birthday, and then May 17th is my wife's or our wedding anniversary. So that's the trickiest. That week sucks to bail on. And then this last time it was like the hurricane came through too, so it would have been like crazy. Although we did end up going to see King Crimson the day after one of the other storms. Anyway, that's a cool lineup, man. That's now is Mastodon headlining one of those nights and it's Acid Bath before them, or is it Acid Bath then Mastodon and somebody else?
So they're
because I don't know that they'd headline Rockville.
Mastodon is not the headliner for that night, but they're like the main act on the certain stage that they're playing on. You know, they got like 4 stages.
I'm with you.
Mastodon is the headliner of the stage, and then I can't remember who headlines that night. I lost it at Snot, Dry Kill. Like I was already sold at Snot, Dry Kill Logic, and there's a couple like I want to say is Element 80 on it. There's a couple like crazy reunions that are back. It's like, oh man,
scattered across the different nights, or they haven't said which is.
Oh no, they're kind of like theme nighting it. You know, they have one night that's like a bunch of the screamo bands like Hawthorne Heights and Seosin and bands like that. They might not be on there, but like that kind of group. But that's what they're doing. Then they have like the metalcore night where Kill Switch, all the metalcore bands are playing, and the one night is like 2000s new metal bands that are doing reunions.
Okay. A lot are. It's crazy. I mean, I'll get on YouTube and every time some band from the early 2000s, late 90s is a new song out right now and a new album coming. I'm like, this is crazy how many bands are coming back.
I feel like something's happening. There's some shift in the force in this music.
It's interesting. Now, this all ties together with the other thing that I wanted to mention, because you were talking about Shaggy, and Shaggy worked at Floyd's. And so did you see and hear, I know you're not keeping up with Rick Beato regularly, and neither am I, but the other... I
saw he had Tremonti on there.
He had Tremonti on there. Did you listen to that yet?
No.
Dude, you'll enjoy it. I really think you'll enjoy that interview. It was so interesting to hear all the backstories of Tallahassee and Floyd's, and working with John Kurtzwig, who I know because I work with him on the Eli stuff, and he also, produced Your Captain Speaking, and he produced the Georgia Honeys, and so I know Kurtzwig, and so hearing all these stories, and Beato knows John Kurtzwig back in the day, not like they were best buds or anything, but they've communicated and talked about stuff before. And dude, Mark Tremonti is really interesting to listen to. I think one of the things that you're going to be caught off guard by, have you ever heard him talk? Because I hadn't.
I don't know. I know he sings. I've heard him say. I've seen his band. I've seen Tremonti. I've seen him.
Okay.
I've heard him like talk in the mic in between songs at a show.
Well, no, so this is fun because it's Beato's thing, dude. They go down Gear Talk, and Tremonti is crazy into amps and guitars, but in particular amps. Yeah. And I think you'll really enjoy the conversation because it just goes on. They're like 30, 40 amps deep on conversation in that one interview. Just like I use this, and then for this record we use this, and then we like to combine these, and we put the mic. They talk about mics and placement and everything. It's really a fun conversation. So you got all the backstory stuff about Tallahassee that we can relate with, and then you also got this deep dive into amps and gear talk with guitars, and it's a hell of a interview.
I got a 4-hour drive with Kyron tomorrow. So
yeah.
We'll cue it up, man.
I was caught off guard by how fun of a conversation it was. I was like, oh, this is cool. I've never heard him talk. And, it's, and we also have the tie-in too, because not only, Mark Tremonti was the guitar player for Creed, and then they changed Alter Bridge basically,
The
and
band,
then
yeah, it was like they did the Days of the New thing. You know, they 86
yeah, they kind of
and
changed the
started.
singer.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then he did Tremonti, and then Creed's actually touring again right now. I think they're working on a new album that they're putting out.
I
But
did.
during that break, our guy Brett Hessla was playing bass for Creed at shows for how? What did he do that for? Like a couple of years, or
Yeah, so he did it for everything after Human Clay. Um, I want to because Creed
Brett
came out.
Hessla being the guy that recorded our Cue the Muses album, also the frontman for Virgos Merlot and
Dark New
Dark
Day.
New Day,
Hmm?
and he might make an appearance in the Cue the Muses next year because we've
I was just talking to
yeah
him the other day. I was just talking to Brett yesterday. It's
yeah
like, he did. I think Creed came out with their first album, My Own Prison, and then they had Human Clay came out, and then Brian Marshall left. And when
right
Brian Marshall, the bassist for Creed, left, Brett was the touring bassist. I
there you
understand.
go
Brett's got Brett's got a couple of the Creed albums on the wall. He's got the Creed
yeah
album off as
that's
well.
wild, man. So it's all so interconnected. And then one, I'll close it out with this because it's kind of interesting. So we were talking about just recording and music and stuff, and like, you know, um, Tremonti did a very, very abstract thing, and I think you know about this. I think you might have told me about it actually, that he did an entire album that was Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. He's got the Sinatra voice, man.
Dude, it's crazy. And so he talks about that whole backstory of how that happened and what the recording process was like because he was working with the actual original Sinatra players, I believe, in the studio to
Really?
record that album. And he had to get Sinatra's like not only blessing, but legally they had to get it worked out. And they judged his voice if he was good enough to do it. So he actually had to have Sinatra sign off on that. It was acceptable to do it. And the way that those recordings work, because of those old school musicians like that, he said every song on there is somewhere between 1 to 3 takes. If anything went wrong in the recording, they just wanted to do the whole song over again.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's sick. And you listen to the quality of the recording, and it sounds so old recorded. It sounds so perfectly recorded
They
to
did
pay
it.
tribute to that old sound. And one more interesting thing about recording, just in general, guys, because I find this interesting, the question mark of using the click or not. And, the original Creed, the first 2 or 3, I think just the first 2 albums, no click was involved. They just did it without a click. And I think it's interesting because I remember as a guitar player when we did our first recording in Kill Clouseau, my band back in the day, we went to the studio and we had to get ready to record on a click. And I had really done so little work with a metronome, and I wasn't the guitar player that I am at this point by any stretch. But the songs were hard, and they did change time. I'm sorry, they changed tempo. I mean, this
Yeah.
is why you'd use a click as if to keep you so you do keep a tempo. And there's a pretty interesting conversation that takes place between Tremonti and Beato just about like to use the click, to not use the click, and the difference of having feel or not feel. And at this point, Tremonti uses a click all the time. He's gotten used to it. It definitely makes it, if you want to continue to do edits and punch-ins and all that, absolutely you want to use the
Yeah.
click.
Yeah.
But overall, there is something that happens about the magic of just knowing that he said he'd flat out just rather use a tempo map at this point. But
It's like you
that's
get so used to it. You get
yeah,
I feel like you once you start going down the road of using the metronome, using the click when you're songwriting, you get used to it. And
yeah,
I feel like that happens when you're doing a lot of writing remotely. You're not getting together with your drummer in the room on a weekly day-to-day basis and rocking
yeah.
through songs. You're really doing a lot of remote writing, bouncing ideas back and forth, and you really have to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're sending stuff back and forth, and I've got that metal song I've referenced twice now that I'm really excited about. That I can't. I do want to show you because it's the most like it's proggy, but it's the most old school metally sound power chordy thing and it's in E. It's just in regular E tuning. We can do it in drop tuning, that's fine. I just mean that it's
We
not in
can
a
do
drop D.
we can do it in E. We can do
Well,
it
I
in
mean,
whatever.
however it works out, but it's just like one of the funnest things that I've ever written, and I'm still closing the gap on a couple of parts that are just technically hard, but it's so fun to get it down. But there's absolutely a tempo change that happens in this chorus line that I have because I was trying to get it to work with a click where I had no tempo map, and I was like, how do I think this even works here? And then I'd play it without the click, and I'm like, it works. I know this works. What does the tempo need to go to? So we got to figure it out, but there's definitely a tempo drop.
Tempo changes are super easy.
Yeah.
They're not bad. We did a couple in
Yeah.
Dave's last night's stuff.
Yeah. Nice.
We did it throughout the song, and we can figure that out.
Yeah. And we did it in Kill Clouseau back in the day. That actually broke. That's how we broke the computer at Lee Dias's studio and lived at his house for a week while he ordered a new computer and came in. But it was a song called Defection, and it had a tempo map that we had to get programmed into it. And for whatever reason, when he was like dialing in those numbers, his computer cracked, and then we spent 2 days of him troubleshooting, and then he eventually ordered a computer. We lived in his house. He hosted us for a few days, and then
Nice.
then we finally his computer came. We recorded the album. That was when we recorded our full album with him.
That's awesome.
So tempo maps are they're there.
Killed
Yeah.
it. Killed his computer.
Defection, Harmonia.
I think
All right.
I think I've had that same thing happen before. Like
No
doing
shit?
too many tempo changes in Pro Tools, programming it in, and it just
Really
it spazzed out. Yeah, it didn't crash my
Weird.
whole computer, but it has crashed the session doing
Interesting.
that.
And he
Yeah.
was using Cubase, so this might be something about DAWs, digital audio workstations that
It might
and
be.
tempo maps. Maybe there's something that doesn't jive.
Might
I
be.
don't know.
I've
I don't
done
know.
it. I've done it recently, and it's not that bad. I feel like sometimes it spazzes out, and it wants to alter it just a little bit when you start doing multiple tempos. Like instead of 120 switching to 135, it'll switch to like 134.999, like small increments. I didn't make the adjustment, but it does it. And
Interesting.
it's like, why are you doing that? What are you doing?
Huh.
Just wait, stop thinking for yourself and just do what I tell you to.
Yeah,
computer.
do what I say, Harmonia.
say.
Do what I say. Dude, great conversation. It's really great getting to talk to you again. It's been a while. We'll get some guests on here. You got the show coming up. So
Yep.
unfortunately, this is going to come out probably on the day. Well, maybe it'll come out on the morning of the show, and some people catch wind of it that way.
Yeah.
Because if they don't hear it here, there's going to be nobody at your show.
Nobody's coming. I mean, Core sold out a show 2 years ago. I don't know if they can do
Yeah.
it again. It's been.
Oh man, you guys are going to sell it out for sure, man. It's going to be great.
It's going to be fun. I'm not going to be able to play with Defy the Tyrant. They're playing right before us, but it hasn't worked out schedule wise with practice. And I told those guys, they're doing some new songs. They're doing some new covers. They got cool stuff going on. I was like, you guys are practicing every week as a 4-piece. Just do it, man. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm
That
not-
makes
I
way
don't-
more sense.
I'm just
Way
like,
more sense.
I love you. I'll come out and headbang. I'll come out on stage and
Yeah.
give Stu a wedgie or something. It'll be
Yeah.
fun.
Nice. Awesome, man.
It's great talking to you, man. Good
You
episode.
too. And guys, we'll see you on the other side. Probably next week. Is the idea.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're gonna get at least one in before Christmas.
Yeah, we got to.
All right. Bye, guys.